A Different Man is one of the most critically acclaimed films of 2024, and here's what happens at the ending of the movie explained, including if Oswald knows about Edward's true identity. Sebastian Stan stars as Edward Guy in director Aaron Schimberg's A Different Man, with it following him as he has facial surgery for his neurofibromatosis. After being completely transformed, Edward, now posing as Guy Maratz, encounters another man with neurofibromatosis named Oswald, with Edward spending the rest of A Different Man being jealous of Oswald's likability and successes. A lot happens in A Different Man's ending, with Edward stalking Oswald after losing his acting job in the Edward play. As he approaches rock bottom, Edward storms the stage during one of Oswald's performances, with a piece of the set falling and crushing Edward. The recovering Edward then is forced to spend a lot of time with Oswald and Ingrid, leading to a wild series of events that spans decades. The last 10 minutes of A Different Man are full of reveals as to what happened during the film's time jump, with these being key to the movie's true meaning. What happens in A Different Man's ending? A stabbing, a time jump, and a cult. While recovering with the help of a physical trainer, Edward moves back into the apartment next to Ingrid. Oswald now lives with Ingrid, with the trio spending a lot of time together, despite Edward's unhappiness. One day after Ingrid and Oswald leave the apartment, Edward manages to get the jump on his physical trainer, stabbing him. Oswald returns to discover the crime, with this leading to Edward getting arrested. Edward is then forced to spend many years in jail, leading to A Different Man's big time jump. After an unspecified amount of time, Edward is released from prison. He is visibly aged, signaling that decades may have passed. While walking, Oswald spots Edward and runs up to him, inviting him out to dinner. While at dinner, Oswald and Ingrid catch up with Edward, with the couple mentioning that they have kids and that they are preparing to move away and join a cult. A Different Man ends with their conversation continuing, with the trio ordering food and Oswald remarking how Edward hasn't changed a bit. Why Oswald calls Guy Edward at the restaurant. Oswald may know Edward's true identity. The biggest reveal at the end of A Different Man is one that many viewers may have missed, as it is incredibly subtle. Throughout A Different Man, Ingrid and Oswald aren't aware that Sebastian Stan's character is Edward, with him saying that Edward is dead and that his name is Guy. Ingrid and Oswald believe this, with Oswald even calling Edward Guy when he sees him shortly after he is released from prison. However, while ordering food in A Different Man's final scene, Oswald asks Sebastian Stan's character a surprising question, saying, "What are you thinking, Edward?" Although the line is said in a very nonchalant way, it reveals that Oswald actually knows Guy's real identity. It isn't known how Oswald knows that Edward has been lying to them, but this reveal completely shifts the conversation. The most likely explanation is that Edward's true identity came out after he was arrested. Since there is no official record of a Guy Maratz, the police would have undoubtedly discovered Edward's lie, and it wouldn't be a stretch for this lie to have made it back to Ingrid and Oswald. Another possibility is that Oswald knew the whole time. Edward's obsession with Oswald and the Edward play makes it easy for Oswald to have put the pieces together, explaining his knowledge at the end of the film. If this is the case, the fact that Oswald continues to refer to Edward as Guy throughout the film only reinforces his kindness, giving Edward another reason to dislike him. The ambiguity of this line makes it impossible to fully understand, but it is the biggest puzzle piece in A Different Man's mysterious ending. Why Edward stabs his physical trainer. Is he defending Oswald? Edward, Sebastian Stan, looking at his new reflection in the mirror in A Different Man image via A24. The most shocking moment in A Different Man comes when Edward stabs his physical trainer, with this being what sends Edward to jail. After Oswald and Ingrid leave the apartment, the physical trainer jokingly makes some disparaging remarks about Oswald, speculating that Ingrid is only with him because he has money. Immediately after this, Edward takes the opportunity to grab a knife and stab his trainer, with Oswald returning to discover the attack.